Hey, I'm about a minute late, but nonetheless, I'm here. Good morning, wherever you're watching me from. My name is Lisa Dublin, and the question this morning is: how do you know if someone loves you? Are you sure about that question? How would you answer that question? You guys, when I look at the statistics, we really are in some kind of relationship. I don't know, pandemic. It's rough out there. I have a couple of statistics before I get into the topic this morning. But you know what? Here's something I want to resurrect that I used to do, and I've kind of fallen by the wayside, even though I keep on doing it in my own private life. Affirmations are important for getting what you want. I've been listening to this person who is so big on affirmations, on speaking, especially things that God says over your life, as a way of starting, as a way of saying to the world, I am going to take control of my life, not just what you throw at me, but this is what I am. So let's go. I am the head and not the tail, above only and not beneath. Yes, the head and not the tail. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I shall lend and not borrow. I have nothing missing and nothing broken. Start your day like that, or with some semblance of some iteration, some fashion of who God says you are, and you are in a better position to be able to just deal with the things that come against you. So that being said, I have a couple of statistics for you before we get into the topic of how do you tell if someone loves you. And we're talking both romantic relationships this morning as well as friendships, because I'm not sure if I've said it, you probably been following me for a while, but I think that's one of the areas that, like, it's especially challenging for me. So I think I have insights on that as well. But here are the statistics. According to a 2023 survey by the Pew Research Center, 32% of men reported being single, followed by 28% of women. This was in 2022. Let us look at the friendship statistics, which for me are a bit more promising. Friendship statistics: 49% report having three or fewer closer friends. 36% report having between 4 and 9 close friends. 13% say they have 10 or more close friends. 12% say they have no close friends. Okay, look at another friendship statistic. And then I'm going to tell you what the trends have been. What have people been Googling about where relationships are concerned? Are you ready? The average friendship lasts for 17 years. However, 17% of survey respondents said they've had the same best friend for over 30 years. You guys, all in all, it seems that friendships are going a lot better than our romantic relationships, although there are similarities in terms of great qualities that we should look for between the two kinds of friendships. I have some other statistics for you that I pulled off the internet. These are what people were searching for in 2023, where relationships, romantic relationships, are concerned. Number one, should I move in with my boyfriend? Number two, should I contact my ex who dumped me? Should I get back together with my ex? That is number three. Number four, should I forgive a cheater? Number five, should I follow my ex on Instagram? I wonder the breakdown of the ages for those statistics, because I some of these, like, especially if you're my age and older, some of them are not quite like, you're just gonna block you. I'm not even. No, I'm not gonna follow you. I don't need to have you in my space. I remember when I was in my 20s and having all of these breakup relationships. The first thing that used to go was that I would forget your birthday. I would literally, you can tell your mind what to do. That's what discipline is about. So that if I say I no longer remember who you are, then you give your mind the command and you just follow it through. But of course, people are different. But these statistics do tell us that people, relationships, one, are important, and two, we struggle a lot with relationships. And so let's go to the question that's in the bottom on the ticker tape right there. Okay, let me just remove that statistic right now. How to tell if someone loves you? What is your answer to that question? I think it depends. I think it first starts with you looking at yourself and determining how you love. What is love to you? And at the end, when we end, we'll just go back to where it all started, and I'll give you that scripture, First Corinthians chapter 13, which for me has really been a guiding light for how I love and how I judge those around me and judge their own love. And I mean, making a judgment does not mean that you then become isolationist, that you don't take people on, that you don't engage, you don't enjoy people's company, because you don't have to be a bosom buddy to have a liming partner. If you're from the Caribbean, you probably understand what a liming partner is. It's like the equivalent of a drinking partner, except that I don't drink, right? Somebody you go out with, somebody you hang out with. That's what we call a liming partner in Caribbean parlance, okay? If you're not from there, you know exactly what I mean. So you don't have to have a bosom buddy, but you do have to have boundaries. And you do need to know these are the kinds of people, whether they are close or not. These are my non-negotiables. These are the no-nos, etc. That kind of thing. So I began by saying it depends. The question is, how do you love? How do you show love? The fact that there are such statistics on loneliness, on breakups, on people looking for things, it means that it's not just that we're not getting quality friends and partners. I wonder too whether we ourselves are being the great friend, the great partner, the great spouse, the great girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever the case might be. And there are a couple of things I think across the board that if you can become that person, maybe you can attract whatever it is you want in terms of relationships and friendships. And why I say that, bear with me. Why I say that is where I've been challenged as a friend is where I have suffered the most as a friend. Does that make sense? It's almost as if, in a sense, you can get what you give, and I fully acknowledge that. I fully acknowledge, like, I was speaking with my coach the other day, and I came upon myself saying something that I did not know that I believed about myself. It looked very strong, but it was really very cold. It, but I honored it. And when I look back, honoring that is perhaps the reason that in my friendships I haven't had as much success as, like I've been married for 20 years now. Woohoo. I have. And I have no idea. I'm like, Lord, if you could do it for me, you could do it for everybody else. But here are some markers, I believe, of whether whether somebody loves you or not. That person supports you. That's for both friendships and in looking for and having a romantic partner. That person supports you. By extension, everything that I say, you can also ask the question, am I the person who is supportive in a relationship? By the way, you guys, we're going to continue the conversation on IG when I'm done here. So please go follow me on IG. I'm going to jump on there at 6:25 my time. It's about a little after 6 right now. We're going to continue the conversation in a more intimate fashion there. So I'm telling you already, the conversation is not over, even though I'm going to end in a little bit. You can join me on IG for us to continue from where we left off on LinkedIn. Okay. That's just the model I've decided to adopt and see how it works as I rebuild my audience again after this Facebook fiasco or debacle, whatever. But that person supports you. It's a friend, or it's a spouse, it's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, that you can see that person is willing to do things for you, and by extension you should be the person who's willing to do stuff for other people, for the people you love. They show interest in you. And I deal a lot with high profile women, heavyweights, women who are going places, doing things, they have going concerns, they're out there. And one of the laments for a lot of the women I deal with, including me, is having friends who genuinely support you, genuinely are interested in you, are not afraid to ask the questions for fear that you're going to feel too big, or to show that they feel like you crushing it out there and you're this big person, and they don't want to say anything because you're going to feel bigger. That's how you judge, and you know how close to let somebody in. And by extension, because you know that you crave those things, you be the person to your heavyweight friends, your high profile friends, your big friends. You be that person who approaches them with that humble love. How are you doing? Oh, how was that? I saw you on TV today. How was that? Ah, geez. I know people who it will never cross their lips, because to say that means that for some reason they diminish themselves, instead of, you know, giving you your flowers. I mean, there's a place for those people. Okay, that's fine. So that person will show interest in you, and definitely for a romantic partner, definitely for somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with. I mean, we have different values and different needs. If you are not that person who is not out there, you don't have a need for a partner to like you out there. But for me, being that kind of high profile person out there doing my thing on the internet, going on stage, speaking, writing books, and all of those things, I learned very early that I would need somebody who let me be the picture in his frame. Let me be out there, like it, love it, not grudgingly. I have friends who was high profile or even more so. And one of the things that they struggled with a long time ago before they decided to part from a partner was he was like, why can't you be less visible? Why do you have to be out there? She's meant to be out there. She's a star. But you come with your small self and want to put her in a box. And she tried for a while, but after a while, like, your nature is going to get the best of you. And so, I mean, he ended up not liking her enough. And she recognized that, and they parted. And she's much better for it, you know. I mean, all things considered. So, I think another way that you know somebody loves you, continue. I have a long list, but we're not going to get through it. So you have to join me on IG, okay, after this. That person is available when you need them. Do you have those friends? And hopefully not a romantic partner who is only available when they need something for you. That's the only time you can get them on the phone, or that's the only time when you speak to them on the phone, they are welcoming and they are nice, as opposed to being their normal reticent and their normal curt and short with you. Right. Watch out for those people. That's not, no, that's a degree of love. And let me say before I continue, I believe we all have a measure of love for others. I believe whether you are selfish or not, whether you have done the work on yourself to know God's love and to be able to give it, whether you are that person who's secure in yourself or insecure, we all have a measure of love that we give to those around us. Do you agree? I don't know that there's anybody who has pure hate in his life, in his or her heart for people. I have not come across that person, and I pray God that I never meet such a person. And so, as we go through the guidelines, you will realize it's not a matter of being a checklist. You have it or you don't. It's a matter of to what degree are you experiencing or exhibiting this quality in our relationship. And so, when you make that evaluation, then what you then do as the person on the receiving end is to adjust the relationship to get it better, to decide how to proceed with it, all of the things. Okay, here's another good one, kind of related to what we've said before. That person will also celebrate you. That person likes who you are. For the life of me, please get away from people who don't like you. You like to talk, and you're somebody who every time you start to talk, the person winces. What are you doing there? Get with somebody who loves to hear your voice and is in love with your vivacious personality. Okay? All of those things are important. So you can't be with a friend who's, you are that person who's always like into personal development, and you are hanging around somebody who's rolling their eyes every time you speak because there she goes again. What is this? What the mismatch? Like as I get older, I'm like, there are certain situations that I don't have to put myself in. I know I don't. They're not important. I don't need to be in a space where I am just tolerated. There are too many spaces out there where I can be celebrated for me to settle on a long-term basis in a space where I'm just simply tolerated. Absolutely not. Okay. And here are others, especially I've noticed this with friendships. As I've gotten older, started a family and all of that, and still have my friends, some of them, I've realized that the friends who like me the most also like my children. And my mom used to say that a long time ago. She used to say that if somebody doesn't like you, they don't like your kids. And you can always tell by what they ask or don't ask, by how they act around your kids or not. That's I used to be like, well, no, not really, except that I'm proving it. I'm proving it in the way that I feel about my friends' children, my friends' kids, and the way that they feel about mine. It's pretty clear. And so I'm not sure what it is. It's almost like so a friend of mine is going to be having a baby, and already I love the baby. Baby's not here yet. I'm already preparing for the baby. You know why? Because the baby is an extension of my friend. The baby is another part of that person coming into the world, and I'm already preparing for the baby. As a friend, what do you have to say about that? What do you think? Write me back. I'd love to hear from you. Okay. LinkedIn is not as personal, or YouTube even. I'll go back on YouTube and check the comments and so on. But join me on Instagram because we're almost at time and there's so much more to say. All right. So, a friend or a partner, somebody who loves you, is willing to be vulnerable with you. If somebody's not, yes, people have their own isms, and I recognize that, which is why I began by saying that we all have a measure of love. But you can tell when somebody trusts their heart with you, and it's not a matter of, I just want to be perfect in front of you. I just want to seem like everything's okay because I believe that you have everything okay. I have this great friend of mine. I love her so much. And well, she just gives it all to me, the good, the bad. This is about herself. She doesn't she knew me many years ago. We've been friends for 25 years. Okay, 25 years we've been friends, or even longer, come almost 30 years. We met at university, and she just gives it all to me. She does. She I'm her friend. We've been friends. We laugh together. We talk together. She'll buff me. I'll buff her. Like, it's that kind of vulnerable friendship where you can be yourself. I hope you have those. And what I realize is the way that we get there is really endeavoring to be ourselves in relationships, in a romantic relationship, or even just a platonic relationship. The more yourself you are, is the less you have to clean up when things really settle down. Don't you find that? I find that a lot. Okay, so, and here's another thing, and this one's a bit controversial, or maybe it isn't. I don't believe that your friends are going to be friends with your enemies. People who genuinely don't like you, have a problem with you. Like, how is somebody who's in your spirit and agreeing with you and being in your life, how is that person going to be friends with somebody else and not be affected in your relationship? I don't know that that is possible. Many times, if somebody really doesn't like you and is out to get you, they know not to try to turn those people who are your bosom buddies, those people who are your ride or dies. They know that. Well, no, I won't even go there. I'll go to somebody else who seems to be on the fence about the person, because there's leeway. And so it's tied to the last point before we end here, that somebody loves you, they will give you the benefit of the doubt. Instead of jumping to the horrible conclusion, they will be like, okay, you know what? I like her. Let me see what she has to say. Maybe it didn't happen that way, as opposed to, yes, she did it. She's wicked. She's never, no, she's not that person. Mm-mm. Something's wrong there. Now, we have to end here. I'm at my time, but this is what I wanted to end with. Okay, in all of what we're talking about, moving from the statistics that show we need to do something about relationships. And we need to have healthy relationships. They're good for our heart, our soul, our smile, the quality of life that we live. Here is something that I have used all the time. You probably know it if you got married and you had the traditional wedding. This is from the Bible, okay? And it says here, love, 1 Corinthians 13:4-7 says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. So you want to test whether somebody loves you? I would distill it all down, remove the bells and whistles, and look at that verse. Look at those couple verses in First Corinthians to kind of test yourself and to see where you can put that person in the continuum of love, because it really is a test. And if you find, as we all will, that you are coming up short, you yourself as a lover, and your partner or your friends are coming up short in certain areas, then the next question is, what do you do? So let's continue the conversation on IG. Join me right now, or 6:25 thereabouts. It's yeah, almost that time on Instagram. You can go look for me, follow me at Lisa M. Dublin, and we'll continue the conversation perhaps in a more intimate fashion because I have so many more stories and thoughts to share on the matter. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm not going to be on. I have to go to the gym tomorrow at 6 a.m. and my trainer was not able to change my time. So I'm not going to be on at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I might come on earlier or even later in the day. This podcast, again, I'm back recording and the podcast drops again today or tomorrow. So we're back and I'll tell you, like, just put it all out there. Where have I been? It's been a tough couple weeks and months, and I acknowledge that in this very vulnerable episode coming up next. Okay. So be a lover today, you guys, in the most sincere and authentic of ways. And I'll see you on Instagram.